AT can at least bring us to 3 games, because I'm a little bit worried, based on this revolving door of support, what is going to happen. However, we haven't seen any gameplay just yet, and I do not want to count chickens prior to the hatching of said eggs, or the chicken's eggs, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Sure. I mean, when we're in draft here, you know, the eggs haven't even appeared yet.
No, there's the first one, as the Varus is going to be banned away here. Aiming not going to be playing that one.
I love how quickly the Bard ban came through.
I think that is a very good idea.
Effort is, you know, he's a scholar of the support role.
He is indeed.
He looks up to a lot of great supports, and he knows that's not going to be. That might be it's not an effort thing. We might be seeing that from everybody. As Rumble's taken away here, T1 do have first pick, even though they are here on red side. If you missed LCK Cup and everything that was happening in 2026, we have right of first selection. Vi banned away is pretty unique to this series thus far. As see what this final ban is going to be. Azir will be taken. Maybe Faker gets his hands on the Orianna first pick. Imagine just going into game 1 of T1's very first series, and they get knocked on Orianna somehow with Oner and Faker.
I'm a little bit worried that they're going to first pick Karma, because the Orianna, I think, has to be banned here. I don't think you allow Faker to play it unless BDD has an answer.
He gets Karma himself. He's like, effort, you're here to play Karma.
There you go. And honestly, I don't think that is a bad idea, as the Karma is going to be banned. So never mind, it will be the Orianna.
So not only do they
Faker.
give the Orianna, but they don't get the counter pick of the swing back with the Karma in the bottom lane. So let's see what the plan is here for BDD, because I mean, BDD is an incredible mid laner. He is the one piece remaining here for this KT roster that's still firing on all cylinders, although towards the end of LCK Cup, not necessarily the case. Just going to lock in the Ryze.
Ryze Pantheon.
The Pantheon is super strong right now, and we already saw what this duo, Double Global, can do from Hanwha Life eSports earlier.
And I mean, this is perfect for KT, right? Give BDD and Cuzz the most agency possible. And that is precisely what they've done. The Oner can pick Nocturne, though.
Yeah, the problem with Nocturne into this is that it doesn't really have a lot of agency pre-6, and Pantheon has a lot. So even though it's kind of like follows the Global with its ultimate, I do like this Jarvan pick a little bit more, especially because it denies the Sivir to come through. And Jayce, once again...
Is KT like, oh no, what HLE did was the best. Let's just do that. As they are hovering at least the Jayce portion of it, there was an Ezreal Bard on that particular lineup, and that is not going to be available because the Bard's banned and the Ezreal's picked. So we are going to see a different bottom lane, but this is exactly the same top side of the map that KT are running. But it is a Jayce blind pick. The Jayce was blinded in games in the first series, but this time they can actually protect it. So the Yorick going to be taken away first, and we'll see what else is going to be removed alongside it. As Lulu also going to be taken off the board.
Lulu's a great choice by T1 here. See what else they want to take away from this, from Doran and for the Jayce in the top lane.
I think that
Jayce jungle was a thing in Kespa Cup even, and earlier this year a little bit, but I don't think we'll be seeing that with the Pantheon here.
I think Effort has played a Pantheon support in his day.
He definitely has. I mean, I don't think you really want to flex that, but I just mention it.
Yep.
As Nautilus will be taken away here from the bottom lane, which makes you wonder if it's a Zeri angle of some type here. Nami taken away, so no Corki Nami, no Lucian Nami. We haven't seen that yet this season, but...
Yep. I think the Nautilus is such a weird ban, because I feel like Nautilus Ezreal is not a lane that we see all that often. Just wanting
they
to
could also just play Leona instead, you know, if they want to play like that. So I agree with you.
It's a weird one. Keria could be going towards the Leona like you're talking about. They have banned away a couple of the range supports.
Nautilus is really good anti-dive. So if you want to win a smashing, crushing bottom lane and look for Pantheon dives, then the Nautilus can be a problem. And I suppose we know that is in fact what the plan is now, with the Ashe picked away here.
Yeah, kind of an interesting window to go for the Ashe Seraphine. As, of course, Keria can pick it away, but Seraphine Ezreal, I don't know whether I'm feeling too psyched about that one.
Not in this draft, I don't think.
As that's an Anivia. We're just hovering it for the moment. We'll see whether the Anivia into Jayce is what Doran's going for on the top side of the map.
He could just play a tank, I think, and be happy with that.
Never mind, he's a bird. Unless Keria is going to play it and take a little bit of a leaf out of the on-book, that's what he's doing. Okay, it's the Anivia support. He saw that On did it, you know, 1-0, at least in the LPL. I believe he played it once in first stand as well. My goodness. Okay, Keria, he's been paying attention to what's been happening elsewhere.
This pick doesn't necessarily stop the Seraphine, but it makes it a little bit trickier to play out. And once he has level 6, they can keep up a lot better. And he has a ranged stun, so that also really helps, get through the laning phase. Ezreal does well with a lot of different types of range support, so Anivia will work out decently. You can also do some funky stuff with the lane. You can manipulate the wave with your wall. So there's like some play with that in the bottom lane. I don't necessarily love how this draft came together, and if I took nameplates off, I would 100% be on KT's side of the draft here because they got everything. The Jayce that doesn't have a strong counter here in this Ambessa. They have the Ashe Seraphine. They have the Ryze to follow up with the Pantheon. Like, their global is insane. They have great extensions for the Encore. But it's T1 on the other side, and it's been a while since we've seen effort on this stage. So, draft aside, let's see what the form looks like on the day.
Yeah, I think this is, once again, a learning prospect for us moving into this very first game. Pretty cute that Keria has decided to start cooking very early on, even if it is something that was a recipe designed elsewhere previously. Haven't seen too much of the Anivia support so far in the LCK. As KT, I think this is a really solid draft that they've put together. I think the Jayce is kind of standing out just a little bit, but does give you a fair bit of range. As Ezreal Anivia for the bottom lane for T1. Let's see how it goes as we jump into the rift for game number 1.
Great start to the Ez.
Yeah, so far, Effort has taken a damage, but did manage to clear out the ward. There you go, there's something.
Heal on the Anivia, electrocute for the damage. Nothing out of the ordinary here. No unsealed spellbook.
Not just yet. And I think if this is going to be your debut game, I think playing the Seraphine sounds like a pretty decent move, as Keria already taking a bit of damage here.
Yeah, it's like on one hand, I feel for Effort like, yeah, you're playing Seraphine, it'll be simple. But you're also playing against Anivia support. I hope you have a lot of experience with that.
I don't know whether there's many people that have too much experience with it, although I imagine On did inspire quite a few in solo queue.
I think, if you're playing like low-level solo queue, you've probably seen it a lot.
That's a good point.
But I don't think Effort's doing...
Xerath.
Hopefully Effort's not doing a whole lot of that.
There's BDD and Faker. Just going to be laning it out here, of course. The Orianna has been a decent matchup into the Ryze in the past. But right now, BDD with a fair bit of control of the wave. Faker just letting that one shove. And so far, KT with a lot of control as far as the lanes are concerned. As Perfect goes to the skies and Doran dances around the wave. We know that Doran's Ambessa has been phenomenally good.
Yes.
But it is going to have a little bit of a rough matchup in the earlier stages.
Yeah, that's the tougher part of this, which is... Again, why I really like this draft for KT, because it has a lot of agency for the Pantheon in all 3 lanes.
Yeah.
So the early game is great. The late game is pretty simple. And also for T1, in terms of engage, like you have the Jarvan setup with the Orianna, and you have a potential setup with the Ambessa, but Ambessa is really tough to play into this composition. And when you go in, there is no getting out. You better win the fight fast. And then the... setup with the Anivia is really conditional. Like, you got to get that wall the way you want it, or you have to end up getting that Q stun to connect, which is, in a real 5v5 team fight, quite tricky at times. Can follow up really well, though, to the other CC they have.
Yep, and even just the Glacial Storm can be pretty powerful, just providing a slow kind of everywhere. When you do have KT, minus the Jayce, I guess, and the fact that Ashe Seraphine does have a decent amount of range. If you manage to get it down, the Pantheon and the Ryze can struggle a little bit, as of course their range isn't the highest. So you can control the battlefield there. I think that, Keria is a creative player.
He cooks.
And we know that he will be able to find ways for this wall to work out. As speaking of things working out, Oner is making his way down towards the bottom lane, but KT just going to move their way out of there. Beat drop pretty good there from Effort to get some damage onto Keria, who does take a fair bit, but still takes back about what he dishes out.
The passive for the Anivia could come into play if we see an attempted dive, as that was aggressive from Peyz.
Yeah, he is an arcane shift forward kind of guy.
He wasn't always like that, but the LPL changed him.
Certainly did. And we saw in the LCK Cup, Peyz was very happy to go in, as Perfect is very close to dying, but he's going to be all right for the moment.
That was
that level up.
Perfect did not flinch. He was like, I have these minions.
Doran also has a lot of minions that he has to deal with here.
It's close to the level up. You know, makes you wonder if Perfect stays there, if he actually could have
I was a bit worried about
kill.
that. Teleport does bring Perfect back there, though. And so both of our top laners should be recharged and back into the action once again. Speaking of back into the action, our supports have made their way back down towards this bottom lane as well as the beat drop goes wide. Good stun there out of Keria. Finds a fair bit of frostbite towards effort on this Seraphine.
The Anivia doesn't really hurt people until the electric goes off. You're like, oh, okay. It kind of hurt people, but when the Q hits, you're like, oh, did that heal?
I feel like your combo also is just so consistent at proccing electrocute if you do manage to land the Q properly. So it's pretty nice if you manage to get it down over and over again. As Doran, I swear he just went back to base. As now, Oner is making his way in, but Perfect just solo kills him! Alright, meanwhile here towards the bottom side of the map, aiming could be in a bit of trouble as T1 looking to press forward. Effort controlling the battlefield really nicely though, and the volley tags both of them. Beat drop does force Peyz to get out of there, and Keria could be down to the egg, and there it is! They cannot actually kill it though, so I think this is actually good for Keria, who come back with all of his health.
Yeah, they're just trying to clear this wave before he respawns here, get this cannon and get out. Aiming.
Oh, there's a nice stun. Aiming does have the barrier, as once again, Keria could be in trouble. This time, he doesn't have the egg, and there are minions getting angry as Peyz down to 200 himself. Cuzz is looking to make his way over here as well, as Peyz just going to have to get out of there. And Oner, thankfully for T1, is in the vicinity.
Guess Cuzz just didn't have a charged spear there. Potentially looked for the snipe.
KT are doing really well.
This is a pretty good early game. Like, there's a lot of questions for the bottom lane plays here from Keria and Peyz. Really hyper-aggressive into Ashe, Seraphine, and this Anivia just really hasn't been proven to me yet, so I don't want to judge it too harshly, but it does not seem like it is going the way they would have liked. Now, here, this feels kind of intentional for Doran, right? He's trying to bait Perfect in. He wants to take some extra damage here. Perfect just knows he has the damage to get the kill. I think Perfect is very well aware that Oner is on the way. Otherwise, Doran wouldn't be playing this way, but he's just like, no, I think I kill him and then I leave. And that's exactly what happened. So Perfect, incredibly confident both times.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yes. BDD pretty happy about it, as you could imagine. And look at the score, man. I love that reaction. Just feeling pretty incredulous about the beginning of this. And if this is the Perfect that we're going to be seeing this LCK, then KT could be a contender.
Yeah.
Because Perfect was certainly one of the weaker links on this KT, especially in the LCK Cup, really wasn't able to stand up. Of course, we had some questions for the bottom side of the map, but if you have a top jungle mid that are really powerful, you can, like, a bottom lane doesn't necessarily need to be the most strong. We saw Doran in 2020 prove that. Obviously, the meta is a little bit different now.
The story of Perfect is it's kind of like he's got this passive that's, in 1 out of 10 games, he's the best top laner in the LCK. and how he got on KT on a 3-year contract is he got 3 of them in a row in tryouts. As Faker is caught.
Room Prison comes down. He does wear his sombrero and catches Cuzz in it, as BDD was looking to try and catch him in a flash, and Faker just says that he's just exiting the area. Arrow is going to connect, though, as Aiming really does not want to let this Orianna leave. True Shot Barrage comes down. Faker now thinking that he might be able to kill this Ashe, who is in melee range with the Orianna. And BDD comes on over and allows Aiming to collect the kill. So a second one here for KT, and they are still looking good.
Not really sure there was a net positive to that flash for Faker in all of this. Obviously here, gets Realm Warped on, has to buy time. And after this, I mean, the timing of this is actually kind of crazy from Faker. But after this, maybe just accept your death. He buys time here, but for what is the real question. And ultimately still goes down, as BDD is obviously not pushing the wave during all of this. If he had just died and, you know, and that wave pushes in, he loses a lot more minions. Maybe a plate goes over, but Flash being down now really hurts.
And look at the CS margin as well, 81 to 59.
Hey, I remember Motto. We just talked about him.
Yeah, there we go. SKT versus Pumandu. This is actually just all of the T1 players in a line.
Yeah, is this...
We've got Effort, Keria, Pumandu mentioned, and Mata.
This is Telecom War pre-round robin LCK. Like, this is just Keria giving everyone a Telecom War history lesson.
Yeah, that's kind of nutty. There's Mata on your screen right now, as it is Score versus Mata right, like, in the building. There is a lot of crossover. It's just kind of absurd. And right now, KT are actually doing really well.
Telecom
on my
Wars,
bingo card.
Yeah, Telecom Wars sometimes have this magic to them where KT kind of overperform against T1.
It's kind of like a blood moon, you know? Like, it's just where all the crazy happens.
Yeah.
One of those sort of things. And I'm here for it. I'm kind of having a good time. As Keria is going to throw down some wall.
And to contextualize this situation, you're having a good time, I'm having a good time, because I expected this to be a fairly one-sided game. We're looking at, okay, this is pretty exciting. Sorry, I shouldn't use that.
Oh God, Wolf.
It's early season. Sorry.
Yeah,
my
you're
bad.
allowed. You get away with it. You get away with it like one time here on day one. From now on, we're not using that word. And honestly, if things go bad, we don't have Chronicler here to say that curses aren't real.
It's an eclectic draft from T1. And if you're a T1 fan, you're like, well, those drafts against D+ just a few weeks ago were pretty eclectic as well. Not 100% sure about this. As Keria has to flash the arrow, and the KTWs just keep stacking up.
And able to avoid a bunch of this as well, as the wall stun combo not going to connect. And so, yeah, KT just feeling better and better.
Faker and Doran are just not really able to play League of Legends.
And this was like what they signed up for, right? Like that's what the lanes were sort of dictated as, especially the top side of the map. As Jayce was going to have a good time, as that double stun was fantastic. Effort has to flash to get out of the way, as Cuzz a little bit more durable. So just presses the Aegis button and he's going to be all right.
That's a Dragon Saber though, for sure, for T1.
Yep.
We'll not be losing that one here early, as Cuzz is just going to leave the area. I agree in terms of the early game for Jayce can be problematic, but not necessarily solo kill problematic, you know? Not necessarily a 20 CS lead here for BDD problematic, as the Ryze into the Orianna. And KT looking really strong here early. Peyz also looking a little weak.
Yeah, there's a Grand Starfall. Peyz has not a lot of options as to where to go, and Cuzz is going to come on over and allow, aiming to get his second kill of the game.
We're very close to this game being kind of donezo if something doesn't change soon.
Perfect game pace for KT, Wolf.
Yeah.
And we are not enthusiastic about it.
And his pace is to get a Serpent's Fang early in this game as well into all these shields, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Maybe T1 will think twice about getting that Chemtech Dragon.
It might just be a let's consider what's going to happen in game number 2. Because this is the thing. No matter what happens in this game, I am not going to make any assumptions. It's T1, right? They happy game sometimes. It's just a thing that happens.
There's been a few of these combos attempted from Keria, some connecting, some not, with the wall Q. But they have been all inconsequential. Like this Anivia pick has not been convincing. Aiming spacing has been good. They're still playing Ashe Seraphine, right? This is first brick, by the way, on top of all the advantages, so plus 3K.
Yeah.
And the last time I felt like I watched a Keria support game that missed this hardware, I was like, I could see the idea was when he played Ezreal support, you know? It's not even like he's playing badly. I'm just like, does this work? You know, On says yes.
I mean, yeah, it has worked, and it's looked pretty good. It's just, unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily work every single time into every single matchup, into every single team. As KT will take the first Drake of the game.
I mean, imagine this. Okay, you got a Cataclysm, Shockwave set up, and then Keria puts his ult and a Q in there. It's like a snow cone.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's getting a little hotter here in Korea. The weather's finally picking up, so, you know, maybe they could make KT Rolster a little cooled off, a little cooled down, you know, from the game state.
Now
here.
I just really need the snow cone combo to come out, Wolf. We need that.
You put the Ezreal ult on top of it?
Oh, man. The problem is that Ashe is already so Freljordian, you know, that you're just immune to the snow cone.
It's not very
maybe
effective.
That's what it is.
Coming up on your screen.
Yeah. Maybe that's the KT trump card. They already had that one locked down. As Peyz, here in this mid lane, is just going to do his best to farm up towards those 2 items. But right now, across the board, KT have advantages. And let's just see whether T1 can find themselves some angles here as we approach the mid-game. Obviously, playing around an Ezreal that has hit the Muramana spike is going to be a decent way of making things happen. And Oner can always find engages on this Jarvan. When he can play alongside Keria as well, it could certainly work out. The problem that I'm seeing, though, is that KT, they now have control of this game, they have the advantage, and they have the globals.
And here's one other issue. I mean, you mentioned the globals. I was going to lead into that a little bit. You have such high range with this Jayce, and the Orianna has to kind of set up a combo with the Jarvan, and otherwise she doesn't do that much damage. The Ezreal needs 2 items to do damage, and needs to kind of hit a lot of Qs, and there's a lot of conditionals to Ezreal popping off in a team fight and carrying. He's not a traditional normal AD carry, he's kind of spell-based, right? So.
Yeah.
these are issues that T1 have to face on top of an already significantly accelerated Jayce in the top lane. And an Ashe that's also sitting 300 gold ahead. It's not the craziest lead here that we've ever seen in a 2-kill Ashe lane, but it's still a significant one. And the finesse that's required here for T1 to play this composition hasn't been shown in the laning phase just yet, but we know T1 outside of lanes with deficits has gotten big comeback wins in the past.
Well, let's see whether it's going to work here as Keria puts away the Storm. And Drake not exactly close by, as that is a really good disengage wall from Keria. The arrow going to be eaten, and no chance of a follow-up there. And
Doran is, by the way, I was just going to mention, he's just been left on this island. This lead is getting bigger. And he's like,
and look at perfect. He's taking another plate here.
If this is a solo queue game, Doran is like, well, I guess we'll just let him have the Nexus, you know?
Yeah, he's like angrily pinging.
I thought there was a Jarvan in this game.
Yeah, this is a tough one. And I think that, honestly, T1 are doing the right thing. There's not a whole, like, doubling down on a losing situation is not really what you want to do. The problem is there's no winning situation to head towards.
Yeah, I mean, playing through the bottom side of the map when there's a Ambessa hitting your, or sorry, a Jayce hitting your inner turret, with Ambessa just kind of crying. I think maybe playing through that, trying to stop that Jayce might be something that you could do.
Yeah.
But again, there's not a whole lot of winning anywhere. And that's the problem with this draft here for T1, because the bottom lane needed to go better than it did, or jungle intention needs to go top side. The mid lane just naturally was BDD winning, and then Faker got picked in the river.
Wait, Wolf, could this possibly be Perfect's first perfect game?
Imagine that. Be, yeah.
That would be pretty topical based on his name, wouldn't it? Every time we talk about a perfect game being possible, it never happens.
I think also
probably won't.
He's probably had a perfect KDA before. I mean, they've won a lot.
Oh no, perfect KDA, but has he been in a perfect game?
No
that
one's
KT's
been in a perfect
won?
game in years, right? Since that one time we had the grub technicality, which still bothers me to this day. Stupid grubs.
I think it's always up for debate. There's not going to be a graphic that comes up to say perfect game, and so we can just, it's open to interpretation.
It was a perfect game.
Well, this is a 16-minute game, so it's not likely to be over anytime soon.
I'm just trying to hold my tongue here because I will discuss this to death, and I have already. And I don't think anyone wants to hear it anymore. I don't think anyone wants to hear it for the 8th time. I don't think anyone wants to hear it for the first time. I mean, Peyz is also in a relatively risky spot here. They're trying to get control over the river entrance to maybe set something up with Oner, but I worry for them if they try to spring this trap. Faker's here.
Faker is going to come forward, does find the shockwave. There's the encore, as Oner is going to get charmed up momentarily. He has to flash out of the way, and this Seraphine is doing a lot of work
3v4,
to keep Cuzz alive. And BDD just wanders to the bottom lane to just smash down some of this overgrowth. And yeah, Perfect is still in that top side of the map as well.
A flash out of Cuzz, a heal out of effort, will lose their mid turret and so much of the bottom
there you go, there's the value.
I spoke too soon. There you go, that's why you pick Anivia.
Absolutely
the Herald counter.
And this turret is still going to take a whole lot of damage. Doran is still just having the worst time ever with no hope in sight as far as any help is concerned. Outside of the fact that there is a Jarvan moving up. So maybe I've spoken a little bit too soon as Perfect. Might need to be a bit careful. There's a public execution. As can Perfect once again get a solo kill? The answer is no, but he can just wander away.
Yeah, he doesn't even have vision. He's like, that's enough. I see that ult, I'm leaving. Doesn't even have phase rush as Faker is, this is the global power.
Yep.
Double global.
Should be able to get that Rune Prison. There it is. And Cuzz looking to try and lock down Faker.
Surely he doesn't flash this time.
Yeah, I don't think he will. As Beat Drop is going to miss. There's the high note. And Rune Prison comes through once again. BDD just needs to hit another Q. Doesn't even need to, as he will be able to claim the kill. 4-0 here for KT, and they'll move towards this Infernal Dragon as well. This game,
they're dunking on them.
They really are, Wolf, and I'm really just, this is not what I was expecting out of this series, so we haven't been talking about it the same way we were in the previous one, because we saw what KT was doing in the LCK Cup, right? It wasn't exactly the most impressive, but this is a dismantling right now.
Draft matters, man. I actually really think that in this era, especially with how AD carries are looking and with role quests and how early game actually affects how you can really get online and how quickly you get online with your role quest, draft matters a lot in 2026. We saw G2 dismantle our whole region. And a heavy part due to drafting, as Wadid was mentioning on the pre-show.
I mean, I have all my notes from Wadid's presentation there as Doran in a whole lot of trouble here. Oner is going to rotate over, but I don't think Doran is going to live for very much longer, as there's a flash from BDD, avoids the turret aggro as well quite nicely, and they will be able to secure their 5th kill of the game. 5,000 gold is the lead here for KT. It's not exactly the most ridiculous number, but the problem is
Perfect game pace
everything
still there.
has been taken by KT. Exactly right, and Perfect is looking for another one here in this bottom lane. No one can answer the Jayce. And Faker can at least get some plates here towards his top side, but they're nowhere near getting that turret. And effort and aiming are just brick walls in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's really, really tough from here on out. In our first series, we had the draft issues with Bro as well into Hanwha Life eSports, and I don't know what the in is here for T1 now. You know, 5,000 gold behind with no mid laner that does consistent damage, sitting on 4 stacks of Rod of Ages. Kind of just praying for mistakes here out of KT. And sure, we all know aiming has shied away from overextending sometimes. BDD might be the same one.
Yeah, this could be the first kill of the game for
TP though, I don't know.
Never mind, Cuzz has just made his way in with the ulti, the teleport from Perfect and KT. They now have the man advantage, and the Realm Warp is going to turn it into a kill onto Keria as well. Oh my goodness, absolutely scrambled there in the jungle. True Shot Barrage does do a bit of work, but it just watches as KT walk over to the Baron.
No, Faker, stay on that turret. Don't get Perfect gamed. He is going to head up here because they want to deny this Baron. I was being facetious.
I mean, Oner might be able to get in there and steal it away. Information will be picked up. All right, Oner, can you make it happen? He is going to get in, but the arrow connects. And Peyz is going to be ushered out with a shock blast. Baron goes over to KT at 20 minutes into the game.
I'm kind of invested in the Perfect game.
Well, I mean, it's happening. It's 7-0, 2 Drakes, 3 Grubs. They got the Herald, even though it didn't charge, and they haven't lost a turret.
TP comes in from Perfect, and BD pulls back and plays through him, and then they cut off Keria. They have Pantheon, so he's global, and then they use the Realm Warp here to collapse onto Keria, who's on the side. And then here, aiming just, it's crazy, but he has this arrow angle because he knows the timing. That is a, attempt here from Oner that we've seen succeed so many times. Like, he's gotten so many crazy steals like this, but he won't get it this time. They time it well and hit him with the arrow, straight up trying to deny his entry. Aiming gets 3K assists, by the way. It's all coming on KT right now.
And they had the stat ready as well, as he's 4th in the league at the moment as well, which is pretty impressive. Looking for a potential dive angle.
Doran.
This wall will not do anything.
Doran's hurting the chances of a perfect game right now.
Oh dear, there are 3 plates remaining on that turret. It's still relatively healthy, but I have a feeling he should be able to take this one down.
So, no, KT!
Yeah, perfect game is going to die, but I do not think...
Hold on.
Oh, wait, never mind. Yeah, Doran is going to have to get himself out of there. He teleports.
The arrow, though, the arrow, the arrow!
Oh, okay. So, perfect game still alive.
Perfect says, I named myself for a reason.
Finally, his namesake might mean something, but it is, I mean...
That's a TP down, by the way.
Inhibitor turrets just yet.
Yeah, that's a TP down for Doran, so it's still a win for KT. I mean, they've obviously kept the turret alive and denied the bounty, which is also a win.
I don't know what this means, Wolf. I'm a bit shocked.
Like, if I had to pick one thing, like someone put a gun to my head, I'd be like, I don't know if Anivia support is it in this matchup. But that's the only thing I could really take away.
The thing is, like, there's a lot that kind of went wrong here out of the draft, like you were talking about. But it's also a KT that are playing really well together. This is with effort being in the support role, like.
I just don't think you're supposed to get Ryze Pantheon. Anivia be damned. I don't think that's supposed to happen.
It is a pretty ridiculous combination, as Perfect is just looking to take an inhibitor turret.
Oh no,
Perfect game is going to die. There it is. Okay. So KT not going to be able to collect that one, but 1 turret away as the Encore is going to connect. Faker gets hit by the beat drop as well, and now everyone else has to deal with Cuzz, who will find the stun onto Keria and turn him into mincemeat. Down he will go. PDD now put into the Cataclysm, but he'll take down the Jarvan and keep himself alive. They're going to break open the base, and KT are going to obliterate T1 here in game number 1.
Most one-sided game of LCK so far. We've only had 3.
I love that sample size, Wolf. Beautiful stuff. Public execution comes in, but for whom?
And, you know, Doran, he got the turret, so at least he's the hero for T1. Not only do I hear the KT side, which we're on, going crazy here, but I've heard despairing wails on the T1 side, as this is a disaster, not the start to the season they were looking for.
I want to say, though, KT, this is what we wanted to see out of our, world's runners-up of 2025. They didn't look this good in the LCK Cup, but the LCK season has just started today. And man, KT look way better.